your chair, which these are barber chairs. Now I'm not going to cut your hair, Jason, but if you want it up,
mate, it needs a cut. So yeah,
so does mine. You just pump it like so,
righto,
like to get it up higher.
Oh yeah. Oh, hello.
Yeah, and then if you want it down, you just press it down, and then you go down. So you can get yourself comfortable as to where you want it. Yeah, you just sort of pump it like you would a bicycle pump, and you will start.
Not going to go through the roof, am I?
Well, that was the part of the plan. Actually, there's an ejection seat. You just fly it straight up. But yeah, so long as you're comfortable, mate.
Yeah, I'm all good.
All good.
All good.
Yeah, sweet. Right, so welcome to a Talk the Catch podcast. Today we've got Jason Scott here, which is AKA the Eastbourne Fisherman. Where's your fishing sort of, let's say, career or fishing fishing journey? When did you start that?
Oh man, to be honest with you, fishing kind of found me in a way. It was like when I was really, really young, 6 or 7. I remember going up to the pier with my grandmother, and just sitting at the end of the pier and just watching people fish.
Yeah.
And it just perplexed me, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool." And like, I just sat there and watched them, like what they were doing, the kind of baits and the things they were using, even watching them casting, and then just sitting there waiting. And then when they reeled in a fish, it was like, "Whoa, this is the best thing I've ever seen."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, wow, this is really cool. And I mean, that went on for about 1 year, 2 years. And I just really wanted to do it, and I've got a really addictive personality.
Yeah, I'm the same. Yeah,
and like I didn't really think nothing of it, and then years and years went past, and then I got talked into going mackerel fishing with my uncle.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is like about 6 or 7 years ago now, and we went to Seaford Beach, and I just took a rod. It was a £5 rod that I picked up from a local car boot. And just a really, really bog standard reel, some line, and just tied on some feathers with a weight, and I just threw it out in the sea and caught a string of mackerel, and I was like, awesome. What? This is great. Yeah. This is wicked. And then once the mackerel season finished, I was like, well, this is really, I was just like, what can I do? I want to do some more fishing. But, the mackerel's not there and I can't target the mackerel. What is it I can do? And I was scratching my head and I was like, right, well, I've already got the rod and the reel. And now I need to, figure out what else I can catch.
Yeah.
And it was from that point there, which I discovered, I really like doing fishing.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I went into the local tackle shops, the Angler's Den and Tony's Tackle, who have been an absolute brilliant support to myself over the last couple of years, and I had a chat with them. And I mean, when I first started fishing, there wasn't much information about. I mean, you had a couple of people on YouTube, but they weren't from anywhere from the area that we fish, and they was all further afield. So I sat down researching and looking at what kind of rigs to use and so on and so forth, and it just started from there. And it was just like, I went out on my own. Spent countless amounts of hours on my own, just fishing on the beach in the dark. Early mornings, late nights. I just tried to fish as much as I possibly could, and I just wanted to be on the beach.
Yeah. How old were you at this point?
I mean, God, this is around about. I mean, what am I now? Don't put that in. It's quite
Edit.
Yeah, do it out. I mean, this was probably about 29, 30 maybe.
Okay, so it's later on.
Yeah, it's quite late on, yeah.
Late 20s you got into it.
Yeah, I hadn't really fished at all before that, really. I mean, I went out with the lads when I was younger, and they used to catch mackerel off the beach and things like that, but I never had my own rod or anything like that, and I was more just like an add-on.
Yeah.
Just someone who was there, just sat on the beach, messing around in the water. I had no interest whatsoever at that point.
Yeah.
In actually fishing for myself. But yeah, I mean, it was around about that sort of point where I was like, this is cool, and this is something I really want to put effort into, and try and catch some fish myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was can you ever remember a session which you did when you first started, when you were like, oh yeah, this is it. This is good. I've caught some fish.
Yeah.
and that's like, I'm game on now.
Yeah. I remember the first session. Well, my uncle actually come fishing with me quite a lot that year. Because we both went on sort of like an epiphanal journey, as we should say. We went mackerel fishing through the summer, and then through the end, we both started thinking, what is it we can target now? And I remember we did one session down the Long Beach in Eastbourne by the marina, and I was just sat there, and we caught a couple of little fish, like the odd pouting and things like that. And there was nothing, really decent was coming out, and it was just like, catch a few tiddlers here, a few tiddlers there. And I was just sat down, I put my lugworm on, I actually miscast it, and it just literally went flying down like the side of the beach. It was proper in close, and I was just like, right, I'm just going to leave it. I put the bait out there, if it happens, it happens. And then, about 20 minutes went past, and I had this massive pull round of the rod, and the line went out, and I ended up reeling in this bass, and it was like, it looked massive at the time. I mean,
it was this big.
It was huge. Yeah, angler's tails. It was definitely, well oversizable, man. It was like a big fish. Yeah, well, to me at that point, it was a big fish. Yeah. And I was just like, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. And I was like, I've definitely got to do this more.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like the point where I was like,
the addiction had started.
Yeah, it was like a buzz, and it's like, you know how it is, Jake. You fish yourself, and and people that are probably listening to this podcast, will understand. At that point, it was like, this is something that I really want to put everything into.
Yeah.
And go hell for leather and try and catch some really decent fish.
Isn't it? You've not got all the control over, but you have got some.
Yeah, sure.
You can try and put yourself into the best situations you can to catch those fish, can't you?
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah.
Which is always good. So the YouTube then, how many years were you fishing before you sort of started that?
I mean, to be honest with you, it was quite simultaneously. There wasn't really much of a gap, really. I mean, I think I was fishing for about a year, maybe a year and a half, and then I decided to start the YouTube channel. The main reasons for starting the YouTube channel was that my two girls actually don't live with me. They live with their mum. Okay. So it was kind of like something that I wanted to share an interest with them, but I wanted it to be something that was visual and permanent. So if I wasn't there, they could and YouTube, they were watching these ridiculous things on YouTube. Like, kids do. They watch absolutely pathetic things on YouTube. And I was like, wow, I can use YouTube as like some kind of a platform to show my kids, this is what I'm doing, and try and get them interested in it. And then, the goal then was to try and take them on the fishing sessions, and to share, something I really enjoyed with them as well.
Yeah, to be fair, that's how I started mine, really. Yeah. Because I wanted to share it with my dad.
Yeah,
who I've always fished with.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can I show him? Like, the kayaking's great fun,
Yeah, it's not until you actually, photograph. I mean, you can take photographs and pictures, but it's never the same. If you have something that's moving and something that's visual, I found that really, really good.
Yeah, it sparks a bit more interest, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, for myself personally, it's like my own personal diary. I mean, sometimes I just go back and watch some of the videos. I mean, the first videos I did was absolutely awful. I mean, they were all filmed on a phone. They were done horizontally. There was no landscaping or nothing. No. And they were like really bad. I think I've taken most of them off now when I rebranded my channel about 2 years ago. But for the people that watch my videos from the start, the first videos were like awful, man.
Yeah. I think most people's are.
Yeah, they were bad.
Because they start not thinking they're going to do a big thing.
Sure, yeah.
And then they just sort of mess around, and then they go big, don't they?
Yeah.
And it sort of takes off.
It was great. I mean, to be honest with you, when I first started, I didn't even have a tripod. I just used to rest my phone up on my tackle box, and then used to get a gust of wind and used to blow it over. And
just as the bike goes,
the audio was awful, and I used to get people commenting saying, "Oh, your audio is terrible," and I'm like, "Oh, how do I improve audio? I don't even know what audio is."
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just recording it and sharing it, and
people don't know how much hard work goes in behind the behind the screen, do they? Sometimes,
it is a hard process, and when I first started, my computer was awful, and I used to remember sitting there trying to edit a video, and you'd edit it, and then you'd play it back, and it would be like you'd miss something out, or like like it would green screen and then go back to something else, and it's just like, oh man, this is absolutely not nightmare.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah. So was there one moment when you were doing it at the beginning you thought, what is the point?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, having the drive of my kids and being able to share something that I was doing with them, and for them to then, when I used to see them, they used to be like, oh Dad, we see you catch this, we see you catch this. That was my driving force, and it kind of still is today, really. I mean, my daughter's fish with me now, which is absolutely great. My son as well comes sometimes, but he's more into computer games and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's quite difficult to break him out of that mold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from then to now, it's really good. And I've had some really good sessions with my daughter.
Yeah.
Like one of my daughters, Olivia, she absolutely loves fishing.
You.
She does, mate. Yeah. She actually, I don't know what it is. I think there's something that women have that men don't.
A lot of people say this.
That when you take them fishing, or when I take my daughter fishing, Olivia, she'll smash it, man. And she'll just catch. And I'll just be sitting there like, what the heck is, what am I doing here?
Yeah. It's the fish gods, maybe.
It is, mate. Yeah.
They're trying to get
some kind of like,
Ouija.
Yeah,
Ouija stuff.
We told our friends from down the road, don't come near Jason.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I think actually with kids, because does she cast it herself?
I mean, level? when we first started taking her, like we used to play a game, and I used to make like a 2-hook rig, and we used to choose which hook we wanted. Yeah. And then we used to bait up both of the hooks, and then if the fish landed on the top hook, it was hers, or if it landed on the bottom hook, it was mine, and vice versa. And we played that game for a good. I think that was a really good actual way to get kids, or to get my daughter like interested in the fishing. Yeah. Because then I did all the hard work, and she was with me, and we was enjoying the time together anyway.
It was easy, yeah.
But it was easy, and then she was like, oh, we caught a fish, and she was really proud that she actually caught a fish on the hook that she chose.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I let her start choosing like different coloured beads to like tell her hook apart and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, and she got into it like that, really. Yeah,
wicked. So obviously you've done a lot of fishing in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, man.
You do a lot of sessions.
Yeah, a lot of sessions.
Go out a lot. And I know with shore angling that there's a lot of blanking involved.
100%.
It's a hard graft.
It is a hard game, mate. Yeah, I mean, when you're filming as well, and when you're fishing, like to go fishing, and if you go fishing, you go fishing, and if you don't catch, you don't really tell anyone about it. If you catch, you tell everyone about it. It's if you're going out fishing and you're filming at the same time, you kind of have to tell everyone about it. Yeah. Because if you don't catch, you don't catch, and if you catch, you catch. So you kind of like shot in the foot, really. Yeah. I mean, I know. Like when I first started my YouTube channel, one of the things that I really wanted to share with people was fishing as a whole, and rather than it just be me sharing all the good times. I wanted it to be something where I could actually say we've been out fishing, but the fishing's been really pants.
Yeah, well, that's like everyone gets that. Yeah, and people don't see that on the social media, do they?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when you're on social media, you see a lot of people with big trophy fish. You never really hear about anyone not catching fish. But to be honest with you, saying that, I have recently seen people posting saying we've been out fishing and I haven't caught anything. It's a difficult one, but for me personally, I wouldn't want to cheat myself.
Yeah, you start doing yourself an injustice if you're not reporting.
Yeah, and I think the thing is as well is that if other people see you not having such a good time on the beach and not catching, it kind of like puts them at ease a little bit as well.
Yeah, 100%. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Otherwise, if I put out like 20, 30 videos of catching fish all the time, and then Terry from down the road goes to his local tackle shop and goes, I want to buy a rod and a reel, and he starts fishing himself and he doesn't catch anything. It's like why am I not catching?
Yeah, they're comparing yourself to them. Aren't
yeah,
sure. 100%. Yeah, that's probably a good way of putting it. That's probably a good way of putting it. Was there ever a fish? Because there was for me. Was there ever a fish that you really wanted to target, which took you a long, long time to catch?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 110%.
Okay.
Bass on lures.
Was it?
100%. Yeah. There was. Oh man, it absolutely drained me physically.
I remember seeing a lot of reports of you going out, and you say because you report your blanks.
Yeah.
And you'd be putting out in the early mornings, late evenings, and nothing.
Lure fishing. There's a massive difference between shore fishing and lure fishing. Shore fishing, you can fish, and you can just go and enjoy it, and you can fish day, night. You can fish low tide, high tide. Lure fishing is a completely different ball game.
Yeah.
You know, you got to pick the right times of the tide, and certain places fish better on the high tide. Certain places fish better on the low tide. The weather, the water clarity, if there's any kind of wind or anything like that, and the change from the shore fishing to the lure fishing is something that really got me. I didn't really understand it, because with the bait fishing, I could just go out and just plonk a bait out and just wait.
Yep.
And, you know, and just relax. But with the shore fishing, you have to really work hard.
Yeah.
Sorry, with the lure fishing.
The lure fishing, yeah.
To really work hard, and I really enjoyed it. And I went to places that I'd never even gone before. I mean, I've lived in Eastbourne for, you know, all my life. I've never even been to the lighthouse.
Really?
Never even ventured around there. I've never ventured around, you know, the cliff marks and things like that. You know, Cookmere and around Seaford Head and New Haven and places, you know, Peacehaven on the reef. I never really ventured out like that. And to be honest with you, I'd never even seen fishing ground, like mixed ground like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was a complete different ball game.
Just shingle on the beach, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sand.
I mean, when you go to the beach, you know, in Eastbourne, it's just shingle onto sand. It's nice and relaxing. When you get to some of these places, there's some big holes, man.
Oh, I know.
There's some big gullies and big holes, and you can stand in the gully, and your head doesn't even reach the top of it. So
yeah, it's quite a dangerous game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with this coastal erosion.
Yeah, sure, man.
I know I've done a bit of shore fishing down that beachy head end, you know.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the original question you said about the bass on the lures. Towards the first part of my YouTube journey, I was doing a lot of bass lure fishing. And I remember I went out with a guy called Matt. He's a Polish guy. He's a really good friend of mine, actually. And he took me to Seaford, and we fished on the reef in Seaford. And I think we went down there a couple of times, and we had no luck. And then we went down this one time, and it was like a golden ticket day.
Yeah.
I mean, when anglers talk about, you know, the red letter day, this was like a red letter day. This was it, man. I come over the top of the hill, I look down onto the beach. It was pitch black, and I had a head torch on, and then I switched to, I think it was a red light, and it just stood, and it was pitch black, and I stood in the water, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Yeah. I was like, you know, I'm like this is probably the most dangerous thing I've ever done. Yeah. If my missus found out, she'd be like, what are you doing, man? Yeah. You know, and then we just stood there, and it was pitch black in the water, and I was just casting out into what seemed like darkness, and I was like, this is never going to work.
And what am I doing?
Yeah, and what am I doing? What am I doing, man? And to be honest with you, I didn't get anything in the darkness hours. I think Matt had a couple of hits, and then the light started to come up. We moved around a little bit, and then Matt had a really nice fish, man. I mean, this fish was really nice. And then the time went on and on and on, and I was like, oh man, I'm never going to catch a fish. And I remember hooking on a pirate lure's teaser. Lure.
That's soft plastic, is it?
Soft plastic lure.
Like a weedless type thing.
That's it, yeah. And it was, I can't remember the correct pronunciation of it. It was the lemony white one. Is it charreuse or whatever they call it?
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, and I cast it out, and I was reeling it in really slowly, and then all of a sudden I just stopped reeling for some reason, and I picked up the reel again. As I stopped the reeling and picked up the reel again, this bass come out of nowhere and just hit this lure. And it hit it so hard.
Yeah.
And the rod folded over, and I was like, man, this is even better than shore fishing.
Yeah.
And you know, and this is absolutely awesome. And then we got it in, and it was like, I think it was like 53 centimeters, 54
that's
centimeters.
a nice fish. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a nice fish. And then, you know, after that I had another one, and then I think that was it really. On the second time we went down there, I was filming, and well, if you ever go lure fishing with someone who knows what they're doing, make sure you listen to them.
Yes.
Because if you don't listen to them, bad things happen. And you know, this guy was really highly experienced in the places that we were fishing. He knew the rocks and everything, and he said to me, you know, one cast and then come back because the water's coming in now.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, be all right.
That's it.
And then I was casting and reeling, and I turn around, and there's like a little walkway that you walk on, like a reef.
Yeah.
And the reef was completely covered. I could not see anything.
Oh,
and I was like, man, this is going to end bad. And I remember going once, twice, and like really like small steps. And I put my foot down, and I just went down in the water.
No.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh man, and I fried my GoPro batteries, because obviously back then I didn't have the waterproof GoPros.
Yeah, of course.
They were just, they were just the ones that stuck on your chest, and they're all out in the elements, and oh man, it was bad.
Was that under head height, or was it pretty much?
Yeah.
Was it? You had to swim sort of thing?
This was like full submerge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was like full submerge. And I had to pull myself back up onto the rocks.
Oh, my God, that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, this was bad, man.
Yeah.
Like, and to be honest with you, it was,
I put you off for a while.
Yeah, we got back out, and I poured my Wellingtons out and looked like an absolute idiot, and then recovered myself, and then we fished a little bit longer, and I clipped on a Pirate Laws teaser in pink, bubble gum, and I was reading that in, and bang, another bass. That was 50, 56, I think it was 55, 56.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. That's a really nice shore fish.
Yeah, it's a great fish for the shore, and to catch a fish like that on a rod. And like a smaller setup rather than a huge beach cast.
Yeah, you feel it more.
Yeah, you do feel it more. And sometimes when you're fishing on the shore and you're using the bigger rods and you're hooking to a nice fish, you don't really feel the fish as much.
Yeah,
you're just kind of like winching it in. I mean, obviously you get the runs and things like that off the bigger fish, but majority if a bass takes your rod on a shore rod, on a big quantity rod, and you're just reeling it in. But when this fish hit this lure, man, it was just like you could feel every single like movement down this rod.
Wicked.
And it was just absolutely great. I mean, now the thing with lure fishing with me now, and I know a lot of people that watch my videos have asked me, when are you going lure fishing? When are you going lure fishing? Because obviously back then I didn't have so much responsibility, and my working pattern was completely different.
Yeah.
Now I'm a lot more bogged down. And to try and get the time to go lure fishing now is really difficult. But it's definitely something that I want to crack on with this year, hopefully, and get some more lure sessions this year, because it is absolutely awesome.
It is awesome fun. A lot of people say when they go over to the lure fishing, so if a lot of people who try the bait fishing, it's not quite for them. They try the lure, and it's a totally different ball game with the lure fishing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, lure fishing is great because you on the plus side you don't really get sticky with bait or dirty.
Yeah, that's true.
You can travel so far just with a backpack and a rod.
Yeah,
you can cover so much ground. And you just follow the birds, and you can just sense where you think the fish are going to be, and I mean, it's a hard journey. The amount of times I've been out and blanked is outweighs the time that I've caught, but the enjoyment and the fun from being out at like 2-3 in the morning and watching the sun come up and just standing there in the darkness and watching the sun break.
Yeah, awesome. Man. It's the best time, isn't it, in the morning?
The mornings are absolutely great.
It's incredible.
I've done a lot of overnight fishing sessions, and just fishing and then watching the sun come up. Oh man, you can't beat it.
Can't beat it. No,
you can't beat
it. Obviously being at sea when that's happening, it's just the best. I don't know what it is, but it's like you go back to your roots.
Yeah, you feel like a hunter gatherer, and that sounds ridiculous, man. But you just feel like No,
you do.
I think you kind of do.
Yeah, I think that's why people enjoy the fishing.
Yeah,
because it's catching something which is you got to hunt it.
Yeah,
and that is in us still.
And mate, to be honest with you, the fish that you catch out of the sea always taste better than the ones you bought in the shop.
Yeah, massively.
It's so much fresher and
much better. You know where it's come from.
Yeah, you know where it's come from, and
put the effort in.
It feels like you've earned it, and it tastes great.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I prefer my when I'm preparing fish and things like that, I won't even season them. I just have them straight from the sea, just have the fish taste.
Yeah, nice.
And it's just absolutely awesome.
Yeah,
and for me that is great.
Yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah,
I don't worry about spicing it. If it's got to go in the freezer, I don't want it.
Yeah,
I want to be here that evening, and that's it.
Yeah, you want it as fresh as possible.
Yeah,
and
really enjoy it.
Just cooked, and it's just the taste, man. When I first tasted my first bass for the first time, it was, oh man, the taste was so good.
Yeah, it's proper good. My other officer loves bass.
Yeah.
I remember the other week we had a bass, and we had a turbot, and I'd caught them, and I rang my mate and said, "Oh, you can come down and have the bass I've caught if you want." And he came down and helped me pull my boat up. Gave him the bass. I thought, "Where's the bass?" I said, "No, we've got turbot. Much better. It's not the most expensive fish in the sea."
Please bring it
back.
She was fuming.
Yeah. So that was a lure fish that you that was obviously on lures.
Yeah,
the bass.
Yeah, sure.
What about bait fishing then? If there was one fish you had to choose,
oh man, there's been quite. To be honest with you, when you're shore fishing, it is a hard game, and it is difficult. There's been a couple of fish, man. Like I don't think I could pick between the two. Probably the better two fish that I caught recently. Actually, there's been three nights that I really remember that stuck in my head for a long time. The first night was when I went out fishing. I had a really bad day at work, and I just grab all your stuff and you go down the beach and you're just like, just throw the bait out and whatever happens.
Yeah.
And I knew there'd been a couple of codling caught. People have had one here, one there, and I just fished the session, cast out, and I ended up having 3 codling in the same evening, which was absolutely great. And that was a great session. I really enjoyed that because
that was locally, wasn't it?
It was locally, yeah.
For
anyone
listening, that cod is a massive thing here. If you can get one off the shore,
yeah. I mean, man, they weren't massive, but they were codling, and they hadn't been in Eastbourne for a long time. I mean, I remember people calling them unicorns at one point. Mythical creatures. And they, Eastbourne hadn't seen a cod run for, I think it was about 7 or 8 years, I think it was, something like that.
A long time, wasn't it?
And then there was a small window where a couple of people were catching 1 cod here, 1 cod there, or 1 cod in here, 1 cod in there, and I ended up having 3 on the same night, which was absolutely great. And I'll remember that session for a long time because it was a session where I didn't actually believe in myself that much.
Yeah.
And and sometimes you can go out fishing and you're like, you can throw the bait out, and if you don't catch, you think, oh man, is it something I'm doing wrong?
Yeah.
But that session was great. I mean, the next memorable session for me was when I joined Joe Plumstead and Harvey Plumstead on a session fishing for smoothhounds, and I just took 1 rod. Joe brought this absolutely superb bait down. It was like the creamiest peeler crab I'd ever seen. It was just, you just took the back shell off and the thing was just like oozing with scent.
Oh, wow.
And it was absolutely, it was like an incredible bait. And I remember just like picking it up and I was like baiting up and it was goo everywhere. And when that happens, this is a great sticky bait, man.
Yeah.
And I cast out and I hit 1 smoothhound. It was a small one. I say a small one. I mean, to some people, a fish like that would be absolutely awesome. But it was a nice fish, but it wasn't it wasn't a massive fish that I've been searching for. And then I cast out again, and I think Harvey had 1, and then it went quiet for a bit, and then I was just sitting there and just watching my rod tip, and then all of a sudden, it was like, and the reel was like banging, man.
Amazing.
And it was just like, gah. And then, to be honest with you, I had never seen anything like it, to be fair, because I've done a lot of shore fishing, but I've never had a fish, a real fish. I mean, you can spend hours on the beach, you catch little fish here, little fish there, you get the small rod tips and that, rattles and things. But this fish was something special. Yeah. And I remember turning around to Joe and I said, I've got a nice fish on here. He was going, don't be silly. Don't be silly, mate.
Not you.
Yeah, don't be silly, mate. He said, it'll be all right. Just we'll see what happens in a minute. And then it kind of like stopped, and I was like, oh man, what do I do? I didn't have no experience with any kind of big fish or nothing like that. Yeah. Didn't have a clue what to do. And, I was just like, man, what the hell am I going to do? I don't have a clue. And I was just like, oh, this is, what do I do, man? And then it run the second time, and I was just like, right, I'm just going to let it go. And then Joe was like, pick the rod up and like fill the fish.
Yeah.
And I was like, I picked the rod up and I filled the fish, and it ran. And then as the run started slowing down, I pulled the rod back, and you could just feel this fish, man. It was just like a heavy fish.
Yeah.
And it was like I think it was like half an hour, 40 minutes. It always seems like longer.
Probably like 5 minutes.
probably wasn't that long, to be fair. But I remember as I was reeling it in, it was darting up and down the beach, and then I was pulling it in, and Joe was standing down on the shore, and we got this fish in. And, oh man, it was the biggest fish I've ever seen.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah, obviously when you're fishing on the shore, to people that fish in boats and things like that, it's not going to be seem like a big fish. But to be honest with you, this fish was over 1 meter and a bit long.
Yeah, amazing.
It was a cracking fish, and we weighed it, and I think it was like 14.5 pounds.
Yeah, that's a good fish, man.
Yeah, and it was just like it was oh man, to fish for so long, and to catch the little fish here and there, to finally catch a fish that you think this is a decent fish, and I've been waiting a long time for this.
Yeah.
The amount of personal pride
yeah.
inside myself was absolutely amazing. And we got the fish back, and it swam off nicely, and that was something that I'll remember for a long time, and I'm really thankful to Joe and Harvey for actually taking me on the session.
Yeah.
And you know, that was just something that was
Do you have to travel far for it? Also, don't want to know the mark.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we was in the Pevensey Bay area, and it was just an amazing feeling, man. Like, you know, when you go fishing and you enjoy the fishing and you catch loads of small fish here and there, but to have the one fish, that you can go, man, I caught this fish. It was off the shore.
Yeah.
Caught the fish, and you know, it was just like so much personal pride in that fish.
Yeah. Do you find when you catch a good fish, because you've got quite a big following.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people follow what you catch.
Yeah.
When you catch it, it's hard to explain, but it's almost not a relief, but it's almost like, I can't wait to put this online.
Yeah.
To show people what I've done.
It is difficult. I mean, obviously, if you put yourself out there and you know, and you put yourself into social media and you have a following, and I don't know, it sounds weird saying a following. I mean, it's not really a following, is it? It's kind of like people that watch you.
It is.
You know? I mean, it still sounds a bit weird now, but I mean, sometimes you do feel pressured to fish, and there was a time when I was, I was doing a lot of sponsored stuff and things like that, and I did feel very pressured to fish, and I felt pressured to get results. And I remember when I first started the YouTube channel, I think it was month 2 or 3, people going, "Oh, we can sponsor you and give you free stuff," blah blah blah. And it was great because you're just like, "Man, this is cool. We'll get some free stuff."
Keep sending it to me.
Yeah, please keep giving me your things. And it felt like that. I think there was a point where I was like, "Man, I don't think I could do this anymore."
Yeah.
And it was just like, you know, I don't want to do this if it's not going to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then it went on for a couple of months, and I keep fishing. And I was fishing like 2 or 3 nights a week and just trying to catch.
What's going when you don't want to go?
Yeah. I mean, and it was, you know, it was something that I was just like, you know, this isn't something that I want to do. And we cut the ties with doing things like that. And then I started to really enjoy it more. And at that point I thought, like, well, this is my kind of journey, and I want to share my personal journey.
Yeah.
And you know, whether it's good or whether it's bad, I should never feel pressured into doing something I enjoy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I know exactly how you feel, because you feel like you've got to get results on the equipment that they sent you.
100%. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you feel like you have to say something good about something that you're using because it's been given to you.
Yeah.
Where, you know, it's a difficult one. Obviously, you know, a lot of anglers want to be sponsored and things like that, and you know, they want to be recognised for their achievements and, you know, and their fishing. But then on the other hand, it does come with its cons.
Oh, massively.
Yeah,
it certainly does. There's other bits which take it away from yourself, like take the fishing, I think, anyway, away from what you want to do, and that's the species angling and the comps and the matches. But we'll go on to that a bit later on. Yeah,
sure.
So yeah, that's smooth out. That's a nice fish. £14. That's good.
And then the third one, it was just a night that I went with my friend Cliff. I didn't even want to go, to be fair. I was just like, I've had a really bad day at work. It's you always catch the decent fish when something bad is happening in your life.
I always. Yeah. And that's weird you've said that.
Yeah.
Because I 100%.
And it's kind of like a sixth sense. And I don't know, I sound like I sound proper kooky now. But the good things happen when things in your life don't seem right.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's almost like someone out there feels almost sorry for you.
Yeah.
They go, we're going to give you something good.
Yeah, and it's like, man, you deserve a nice fish.
Yeah.
And I was fishing with my mate Cliff. We was down in the harbour, White Horses area. There was a fishing match going on. So we just thought, oh man, we'll just go on the end. Because the original spot I wanted to fish was just crammed with anglers. You know where it is. You get down the beach and there's like anglers everywhere, and there's head torches and lights, and it's just
Were you fishing the match or?
I wasn't fishing the match. No,
there was a match on.
I went down the pleasure fish and there was a match on, and I was like, oh, for Pete's sake, you know, what are we gonna do? I said to Cliff, should we change location? He was like, no, we're just going on the end over here, and it was one of them nights. It was a weird night. It wasn't like, sometimes you get down the beach and you think, oh, this is going to be a great night. And sometimes you get down the beach and think, oh, this is gonna, you know, I'm not too sure really. This is a weird kind of night. And we were fishing over mixed ground. We've been fishing for, you know, small fish and things like that. And then on one of the casts that Cliff had, he had an almighty pull round, and we reeled in, and he'd been bitten off, and it was like you could see the teeth marks in the line.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, what the heck is that? So I said to Cliff, I said, let's both change over to wire tracers.
Yeah.
And we'll put a big stinky bait on, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were sitting down and just enjoying a bourbon biscuit. Bourbon biscuits are my favourite, by the way. And I was just sitting down there, and we had a couple of meerkat sweets. If you guys watch my YouTube channel, Meerkat Sweets.
Meerkat Sweets.
I've
never heard of those.
I'll get you some meerkat sweets. Like they are the best sweets ever. But yeah, going back to the fishing, we were just sitting down and having a chat, and Cliff's rod went right round, and like the line went out a little bit, and it was just like, man, this is a cool fish. He picked it up, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is weird. So well, something's playing around here, and I had a couple of little rattles on my rod, and then all of a sudden my rod wrapped round, and then went, and then stopped, and I was like, this is really weird, because like you're fishing like right close to each other.
Yeah.
And there's like something weird's going on. So I mean, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether it picked up Cliff's bait and then swam with it and dropped it, and then picked up my bait, swam with it and dropped it, and then just sitting down. Another 5-10 minutes passed. And then all of a sudden, the rod bends round, and it's just like screaming. The reel's literally screaming.
Wow.
Like, I mean, I remember picking the rod up and looking down at the reel, and I was like, man, there's not much line left on this reel.
On the spool, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get like 300 meters of braid, and then you get like some backing on it as well. 100 meters of backing.
Yeah.
And I remember I could see the backing through the braid.
Never a good thing.
And I was like, man, this is, I hope my knots are tight. I hope my rig's good, because this fish is a nice fish. And I remember reeling it in, it felt like forever. I said to Cliff, go down to the water and, and see if you can see the fish. And he was like, no, I ain't going nowhere near that, man. It's like, because I knew it was a nice fish. And where we were fishing, there wasn't any smooth hands about, really. No one had reported any bass. So the only thing that it could have been was an eel. Yeah. We kind of knew it was an eel, and we knew it was a big eel because of the way that it reacted on the rod and the reel. And I got this to the shore, and I remember shouting. I was like, yes, yes. And then I think everyone in the match just like was like looking down the beach, and I was like, yes. I was like, man, this fish is wicked. And I pulled the fish up, and we weighed it, and took the hook out of things. I held it up, and the fish was massive, man. I was like, oh, this is a fish and a half.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, and I think it went just under 15 pound.
Wicked. Yeah, I mean, that's a lovely fish for the shore, isn't it?
Yeah,
for down here.
Yeah, for around this area.
That's big.
Yeah, if people are looking to start shore fishing and things like that, for every big fish, I don't want to sound negative, but for every big fish that you catch, you're going to catch hundreds of small fish.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But saying that, it's that big fish that you do catch that keeps you hungry for fishing.
Yeah, we've caught them all the time. You would be bored, wouldn't you?
Oh, 100%, mate. Yeah, I say to my friend Cliff, it's called fishing, not catching. It totally is. I mean, when you do catch those fish, those decent fish off the shore, and it's like, man, that one or two fish kept me going for ages.
Yeah, it does, because it just sparks you, and it's always you wait. You've caught your big fish. You might have to wait a month
100%.
Or a bit more, and you're starting to feel that again.
Yeah,
and then you get another one, and it just keeps you, doesn't it?
It does, mate. It keeps you hooked. I think the thing I like about sea fishing the most is that you're putting your bait, like it's like casting out like a pinprick.
Yes.
Into like a vast, massive nothingness.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, when you think about it, and you think about, I haven't caught, if you go out in a fishing session and you've had a run of blanks, if you think that you're casting out something so small into something so big, it then puts it into perspective.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, where it really put it in perspective for me was because obviously I started shore angling down here first.
Yeah.
Is when I got into the kayaking and boating, and then when I was coming in, so I'll go out for the day on my boat or kayak. As I was coming in, and you'd see the shore anglers, and you'd go, "My God, I feel sorry for you." It's just a different world out there.
Mate,
it's so much easier.
It is
in a way.
Sometimes it's either all or nothing, but the sessions where it's all make the sessions where it's nothing,
mean more.
Mean more.
Yeah, 100%.
And you can really work for it, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. It's a lot of anglers get into match fishing, don't they? Is that something you've ever done or dabbled with, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started fishing, I was introduced into match fishing, to be fair, and there's quite a funny story I'll tell you about in a minute, which actually kind of put me off match fishing, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, when I first started fishing, I had a rod. It was absolutely rubbish, and I mean the rod was so flimsy, man. You cast it, and when you went round on the cast, the top was like, blah, 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 blah. It was
praying it isn't snap.
Yeah, it was literally like on a spring, and yeah, I mean, I did the match fishing thing. I really enjoyed it to start with. To meet the people that were down there. You could gain a lot of knowledge from people that are fishing and they're constantly catching fish.
Yes.
So I mean, if you're new to fishing and you're looking to get advice, obviously YouTube is a great place to go. Obviously a pump for YouTube there.
And the Eastbourne Fisherman, by the way.
and muscle fishing. But yeah, spending time with people that have been fishing for a long time, and that knew what they were doing. To be honest with you, I'll put my hands up and I'll say that when I first started doing match fishing, I was very naive.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't listen to people. I want to do it my own way.
Yep.
And I was like, nah, man, your way is rubbish. This way is the way. Blah 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 blah. And I actually listened to them. Some of the tips and tricks that they gave were pretty good. And I started catching fish, which was great. The thing with the match fishing I didn't like really was you always knew who was going to kind of win.
100%. Yeah, there's a few top anglers and they always win.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, we used to go week after week after week, and the top anglers used to win all the time, and it was just like, oh man, this is. For me personally, it wasn't as enjoyable as I wanted it to be, and because I used fishing as kind of like an escape from my working life and home life and things like that. I just wanted it to be, when I went fishing, I wanted it to be there and to not have any time restraints.
Yeah.
And to really enjoy it, and to spend the time listening to the waves, not running up and down the beach and things like that. I mean, yeah, but the match fishing's good. I mean, you got to be the right kind of person to enjoy the match fishing. To be fair,
so.
Yeah, you got to either really be in it or it's a hard game. Match fishing.
Big time.
Yeah.
So mentioning about the timings, that's the one thing I hated.
Yeah.
Because it could sometimes it would just start getting good, and you'd go, "I've got 20 minutes left."
That exactly. Yeah.
I don't want to weigh in. I've not caught it. I've caught one dogfish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it is difficult. I mean, there was one time I fished a match in Pevensey. I think it was a Pevensey Bay Angling Club match. There was loads of people fishing it. There's about 40, 50 people fishing it. We were fishing low tides. We were right out on the sand. I took everything imaginable with me. Like literally, I think I took everything but the kitchen sink. Like literally the whole works.
And you did try. The other half wasn't. No, you're not having it.
Yeah, no, seriously, mate. I was there. I turned up to the Ocean View Bakery just in Pevensey Bay, and I had all my kit on, and everyone was just like, "What the heck is this guy doing?" We're going to be out in the sand, and you're just going to get your kit trashed. And I was like, "Oh man, this is bad." And then I put most of my kit up on the stones, which was miles away from anything else. I waddled out into the sand, cast out, and we fished this match. And the match was god awful, man. It was absolutely horrendous.
Yeah.
There was hardly any fish caught that day. And then the water come back up to the high tide, and the sand was covered. And I was fishing. I think I caught one white and one dab, which actually landed me third place in the comp.
Oh wow!
Which was like, that's how bad a comp it was.
Yeah.
And I remember going back to the weigh-in, and then I got my money. I was like, oh, this is great, man! I won a couple of quid. I got back to the car, and I was like, oh no, where are the keys?
Oh no!
Yeah, it was one of them.
Oh no!
Yeah, mate, it was one of them, and it was just like, I remember phoning my wife, and just saying, I've got some good news and some bad news.
Yeah.
I can't further in the comp, but I can't find the keys to get into the car. So I think I won about 50 quid.
Yes.
And then the locksmith charge was like 280.
Yeah. So I'm down 150.
Mate, I went from here to like here in about 20 seconds.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was bad. I mean, we went back and looked over I knew in my heart that I'd lost them out on the sand.
They're gone. Yeah.
They're gone. Yeah.
No, what a nightmare.
Yeah, so that really actually put me off fishing for a long time at low tide on sand.
Yeah.
Like, it put me off like for a good couple of years. Well,
you do get just dirty, don't you?
You do,
and
mate,
that sand goes everywhere.
Yeah, if you want to fish on the sand, you want to go as light as possible with a backpack that you can hang on your tripod, and everything in a bucket. So, you're just as light as possible and you can just move back with the tide. don't do what I did and go with a beach buddy and like literally everything you could possibly think of. Yeah,
because the tide comes in quick down there. Actually,
it does.
When it starts, that's that. You've got to go.
Yeah. When it starts coming in and the gullies start filling up with water, you got to make a move.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was probably, I wouldn't say it's my worst fishing experience, but it definitely put a dampener on match fishing for myself as a whole. I mean, it's something that I thought. And then I dabbled with. I joined a couple of clubs, went to a couple of different clubs in the area, but I mean, I don't think it's for me, to be fair. Like when I can go fishing, it's quite late at night or quite early in the morning. So
yeah, you try to relax.
I kind of miss the match scene now anyway. So, yeah.
If you could give one tip from your very short match experience regarding tackle, or slight tactic, what would it be?
Offsetting the hooks.
Offsetting the hooks.
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that like an Aberdeen shank and just bending it, or
that's
it?
Yeah. So if you're using, I mean, a lot of people will probably know. If you're new to fishing, you probably wouldn't know. But a lot of match anglers offset hooks. So basically, you get the hook and you take a pair of pliers or a pair of forceps and you just offset it slightly, so it's not completely straight.
Okay.
And I found that I had my hookup rate went higher. To be honest with you, like I fish quite a lot. I'm not the best angler in the world, but these little benefits and things that you picked up from people that were doing it a lot seem to increase the catch ratio.
That's a good little tip. That the thing is, with those little tips, if you have 5 or 10 little tips and you put it all together, it can make a big difference.
It was overall. There was another one as well. I was fishing a match. I think it was a Nomad's Christmas special, 2019. I think it was, or 2020 or something like that. No, it's probably it went 2019. It was 20. It might have been 2019. It's probably 2019. Yeah. Well, I'm overthinking it. Yeah. And I fished a match. I was fishing next to a guy called Julian, and I was not catching nothing. And he was pulling in 3 whiting at a time. I was sitting there. I was like, "What the hell am I doing? This is just like the worst match ever." And he turned around to me and he said, "You need to shorten your hook snoods."
Yeah.
That's
all it was.
Yeah, and that was all it was. I mean, my hook snoods were pretty long, and it was rough sea. And when I was reading in my rig, they were just tangled in a mess. And he said, "Cut your hook snoods down, shorten your hook snoods." And then I started catching a couple of fish.
Wow. Yeah. So it literally is.
It literally is just small tweaking. I mean, I went out last night. I was fishing with a 2-hook flapping rig, and I like using quite short snoods, to be fair, in general, but I wasn't really catching much, and we caught a couple of fish, and then I lengthened the snood on the bottom quite significantly to about 2 foot, and then we cast out and I caught a nice bass. So
sweet. Was that yesterday night?
That was yesterday night. Yeah. So obviously when this goes out, you guys would have seen it anyway.
You would have probably seen the bass. Yeah. What sort of size?
I mean, it wasn't sizable, but I mean,
all right for
it was all right for shore angling currently, where it's really
tough.
We're in the scratchy mode now. I mean, it is hard going out there at the moment.
Yeah, I mean this is 2023 August, and there has not been a mackerel run yet at all.
I have had 3 small mackerel.
You've had 3,
3
small ones,
but they've been at distance, and I've been blasting the continental rod to get them. They were like 15 centimeters.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I think it's just the wind.
I think this year has been really difficult. I mean, there's a lot of unsettled weather.
Yes.
There's no kind of structure to the weeks. It will go from really hot one moment to then at the weekend it will be raining and windy.
Yeah.
There's no consistency, and I think that especially with mackerel fishing, the consistency needs to be there. It needs to be warm. The sea needs to be clear. It needs to be no wind. And then they come in. But I mean, this year I've never fished so late for mackerel.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know. Even on the boats, we've been struggling.
Oh really?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're just very sparse.
Yeah.
And you just cannot find them. A lot of scad about.
Yeah, sure.
Which are actually a very, very good bait. A bit more tough. They've got a lot of oil content as well. But the mackerel just don't seem to be anywhere.
Yeah,
causing me some problems.
Yeah, this year, I mean, usually, like I say to people that ask me, when are the mackerel getting caught? Someone even asked me the postcode of where they can catch mackerel, which was a pretty.
I bet that got some fun comments on Facebook.
I had a pretty good laugh at that. I mean, when they're in, they're in, and they're in.
That's it.
But yeah, I mean, this year's been extremely difficult. Obviously, because once the mackerel come in, the bass come in, and the bass fishing starts getting really good, and then you can start targeting bass on lures. But this year has been really hard. fishing in general, to be fair, and we're just waiting for those mackerel to come in so we can then start targeting the bass.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Because where are you fishing? Bex Hill, actually. We were there the other week. Obviously, the water's not perfectly clear because of that churn and the weather's the way it's been. But not one take. And I know how to fish that reef very well. I've had days where I caught 40 bass. Yeah. And the two of us just couldn't get anything, and the sonar was dead.
Really?
I'm sure if I'd went yesterday when it was crystal clear,
it
was so calm yesterday, I probably would have been able to pick one or two out. But yeah, they're just odd year.
So sometimes I sit there and I work quite a lot, and at the moment I've been working 7 days, which is just like draining. But when sometimes I see people posting and they're like, "Oh, I've caught a really good fish," and I'm like, "Oh man, I'm stuck at work."
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, jeez.
Devastating.
Yeah, it is like, you just feel like, oh, I wish I could fish every day.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, I think if I fished every day, it would just get extremely boring.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I think, I've done trips where I've done loads of days in a row and I've chasing speech, and then all of a sudden I just get, oh my goodness.
You're so drained.
I don't want to do any more. I'm knackered.
Yeah, sure.
And then you come home, put all your kit away, and you just, and you don't go out for a few weeks, and then you really want to build up.
Yeah, you do, yeah. I mean, like sometimes I won't go out 1 week. I mean, I'm quite lucky because obviously with filming for YouTube, you can kind of stagger the videos. So you can film 2 videos in 1 week, and then the next week you can have a rest and stagger your videos. Yeah. So it's quite. Do you
sort of, how many videos do you aim to put out a week, or you just don't?
I mean, at the moment, I'll film 1 week and I'll try and rest the second week. But at the moment, I'm filming every week and putting a video out every week. Yeah, so they're pretty. I'll go out and film on, like, say, a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, and then I'll edit it ready for Friday.
Yeah.
But
that's quite a good way of doing it.
I usually break around, December, and then try and backlog a couple of videos.
Yeah, I don't know if you find, I don't know if it might be interesting to people or not, but I would always find views at this time of year are really quite hard to get up. But then in the winter, you're getting double, triple sometimes in a short period of time. Whereas at the moment, I suppose everyone's out fishing and they're busy.
Sure, yeah. I mean, with YouTube, it's very seasonal, so you'll find like a lot of YouTube guys that fish. They will fish the season, and they will post the season. So if someone's looking to fish for what you're fishing and they're searching for it, they've already got it there. If you see what I mean. So
I've got
for us as shore anglers, usually tend to go out and target fish that are there, rather than going out and trying to catch something that isn't potentially there, because you know that the people that are going to watch the videos are going to be people that want to catch the same species that you're catching.
Yeah. Do you? So let's say you've made a really good video in your eyes, and you upload it, and some do well, some don't.
They do, yeah.
So let's say you've uploaded what you think is a really good video, and then the views are just nowhere near as good as you think. Do you take that sort of personally and think why? And do you read into it a bit too much, or not? Are you quite relaxed with how that goes?
To be fair, I'm pretty relaxed about it now. I mean, when I first started, I was really like, oh man, like I was quite a self-conscious person, to be fair, and like I was just like, constantly questioning, like, am I doing the right thing? And when you put yourself out there in the public, it's not like one person sees you. Everyone sees you.
Yeah. There's a lot of critics, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. I mean, I had a lot of hate mail when I first started. People were just like proper anti any kind of you telling anyone in the local area about fishing.
Yeah. Oh, I've had
fishing marks and places.
So I know exactly how you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I did get pretty hammered when I first started. I mean, I even to be fair, I even lost a couple of friends due to it. But then, I mean, the friends that I lost compared to the friends that I've made through fishing, is completely outweighed.
You've got the real friends.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can get like I fish with a lot of different people, different ages, and it doesn't matter how old or how young the person is. You've got that same bond with them.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you both share a passion. And you've always got something to talk about.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and fishing's just, I can talk about it forever.
Yeah, you really can.
I don't know why. Like, only fishermen tend to know.
Yeah, it's very addictive, and like, I think for obviously myself with a very addictive personality, there are times when I'm just like, I need to fish.
Yeah.
It's just like a blue mist comes over me.
I need to do it now.
Yeah, I need to go fishing. Get me out of it.
So with your very addictive personality, then this will be fun because I'm an addictive personality, and so are you. So I'm interested to hear your opinion on this. So your Eastbourne UK Anglers page now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure.
UK and Ireland
Sea Anglers.
Sea Anglers, yeah. You did like a yearly species hunt
I did,
type
yeah.
thing, and I believe you did enter it, didn't you?
I am currently in it, yeah.
So having your addictive personality then, and are you competitive or not particularly?
I mean, I would say yes and no. It's, I can appreciate that there are people doing it that are very, very talented and very skilled, and I can appreciate that there's a lot of people that have a lot more time than I personally do.
Yes.
So for the time that I spend fishing, converted into the fish that I've caught, I'm quite happy, to be fair. I'm not like someone that is like jealous of other people that are higher placed than me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I appreciate that the people that are taking part, some of the guys that have caught like 40 or 50 fish so far.
Wow.
And
that's a lot.
It's like, man, these guys are really good at what they do.
Because it's all from the shore, is it?
All from the shore.
Yeah, I mean, 40, 50 fish, so there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, there's one guy on there that travels all over, and I see some of the posts that he posts, and like one week he'll be down in the Isle of Wight, the next week he'll be up in Scotland.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'd love to have that much,
time.
Yeah, that much time and that much, to be able to fish that many places. But you got to be realistic, to be fair. And I mean, if you're working a 6-day week, a 7-day week sometimes, and you can get out when you can, I'm happy with where I'm currently placed compared to the amount of hours I can put in.
Yeah. Have you had a fish in that species hunt which you've specifically gone out and tried to catch, failed a few times, and then got it and felt really good?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, with the start of the year, I was looking for a silver eel, and silver eels, I mean, they're a fish when you see one and then you won't see one, and then you'll see a couple and then you won't see a couple, and you don't usually hear of people catching silver eels. They're not like a desired fish to catch.
No, they're nuisance to a lot of people's eyes.
Or to talk about. So
they're a protected species, aren't they, as well?
They are as well. Care. Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I mean, people used to eat them and stuff.
Jelly
deals and stuff. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, it was just like man, I'm never going to catch this fish. And like, I was looking at my pad and what I caught and things, and all the common species were disappearing, and I was like, oh man. And I went with my friend Cliff. Cliff's actually one of my really good friends, and he's actually he's a really, really nice chap, and I just met, he was a subscriber, and I was fishing one day and he just come up to me and he goes, oh, my name's Cliff, I watch your YouTube videos. I was like, oh, hello Cliff, my name's Jason. He's like, and then we just started chatting, and this guy has been to my wedding. He's
amazing.
He fishes with me like pretty much every session, and it's crazy. And I mean, we fished Brighton Marina. Cliff put his first cast over, and we just sat there, and he pulled up this silver eel, and I was like, oh what? Man, I was like, geez, you caught the fish that I'm after, man.
Well, did you go there specifically for that?
No. We just wanted to fish, man, and like the weather, we knew it was going to be hard going, and the weather was awful, and I took a day off work. I like fishing Brighton Marina anyway, because you're hard standing. The water moves around you. You don't have to move. You're static.
Free to fish there or not?
No, you pay to fish there.
You pay to fish there.
You pay to fish there. But it's just like sometimes when you go fishing on the shore and you're constantly moving up and down with the tide, it's nice to have the chance to go to somewhere which is a static place.
Yeah, because it doesn't dry out there, does it?
It doesn't.
You can fish the whole
you
time.
Just fish and fish and fish. And and Cliff caught this silver eel, and I was like, oh damn it! I was like, blowing out, man. And I was like trying to be happy for him, but at the same time my insides were like creasing.
You jammy sir.
And I was like, oh, you're a rascal. And then the day went on, and it got to the end of the day, and I was like, oh man, this is really, really, I just want to catch a silver eel, because I knew catching them off the shore is quite difficult. I mean, unless you're really, really going to target them with really small hooks and things like that.
Yeah, you've got to be in the area.
You've got to be in the area that they are. I mean, sewage outlets and things like that. And they're quite difficult to catch off the shore. So for me, I was just like, oh, this is not going good. And then I remember reeling in my last rig. I saw a little bite. I to be honest, I wasn't even targeting silver eels. We were down there targeting flatfish.
Did that go well, or?
Yeah, I had a couple of plays, but the day was one of them days where it was quite rough. There was no mackerel, and there was just carpets of weed floating about.
Oh no, yeah.
So yeah, like I'm talking like flying carpets, like the size of like dinner table, like size bits of weed.
Yeah, take out your whole rod.
Anything we caught that day was a bonus, and I remember pulling up my second to last cast, and there was a silver eel on there. And I was like, yes, get
Amazing.
in.
Yeah,
I was like, please don't fall off. Please don't fall off. Please don't fall off. And then yeah, bang in the silver eel on the card. Happy days.
Yeah, awesome. Have you lost a fish which is so close to you getting into the shore, and it's something you need for that hunt yet, and it's just pinged off last second?
Not this year, but there was a year that I went. I think it was last year or the year before. I can't pinpoint. There's been so many sessions, and I'm just like, my memory is not great.
Well, they just become a big blur, don't
they do, yeah. When you look back at them, it's like, oh man, this is mental. I took my daughter on her first fishing journey. We went to Pagham. I spoke to a guy, Mike, down in Chichester Tackle Shop, which I've been friends with for quite a while. He's a really nice guy, Mikey Grantham. If you're ever down Chichester way, pop in there and say hello. So yeah, he runs a shop called the Southern Angling Specialists, and yeah, he said to me about this mark to go down to, so I really want to get a tope off the shore, and a lot of tope anglers don't like sharing.
And you can't get any information ever.
Yeah. A lot of people that target tope, they're like seasoned anglers, like really like, they respect each other, and it's like a quite closely knitted
I agree.
Community where they don't usually like to share their marks, obviously because the fish welfare and things like that. You don't want everyone going down targeting the fish, and it'll spoil it for the people that really want to go and target these fish. But yeah, he gave me this mark. I said to him I wanted to fish Pagham. He gave me a mark. I didn't really tell him what it was for. I just said that I wanted to go and fish there. I was fishing with my daughter Olivia. She fell asleep in the beach tent, and I was sitting there, and the rod went right round, and literally I was fishing a whole mackerel. So
it's got to be good.
So yeah, it was a whole mackerel, fresh mackerel, flappered up with 2 hooks in it, big circle hook on the top and a J hook on the bottom, and literally this thing went right round, and I was literally like. And I was like, man, this is a nice fish, man. Like, and I pulled into it, and it ran, and then it stopped, and then it ran, and then it stopped, and it kind of like dropped the bait, and I was reeling it in slowly, and then it just, I can't really explain it. It felt like something coming, and like bang, and then like went again.
Wow!
I was like, mate, this is insane. And like I was reeling. I think it was pitch black, man. Like. These anglers' tails now.
We like anglers' tails.
Yeah,
carry on.
I see the top of the jaws fin.
Yeah,
as you say. And then I was reading and I could see the top of what I thought. It could have been a smooth hound or any other species of.
Smooth hound don't generally take the big mackerel though, do they?
Yeah.
Let's call it a big tote.
Yeah, let's call it a big tote for the sake of it. And then it just. I think it swum up my line and just bit my mono.
Oh.
Yeah, and I was using a wire leader.
Yeah,
I think it just turned around, swam up my line, and it went through my main mono line, and then that was it, gone. And I remember sitting on the sand. If you've ever been to Pagham, it's kind of like a pea beachy sort of beach.
Yeah, I've been there multiple times because I used to go to Church Farm.
Oh right, yeah,
I used to go there every single year.
It's kind of like a pea beachy sort of beach, and you get quite a lot of like what do you call it? Bugs and stuff.
Oh yeah, like midges.
That's it. Yeah, midges. And
sea midges.
I remember just sitting down, like cradling my rod, like a baby, and just like, oh man, what the hell was that fish? Oh. And I was just like, oh, this is like, I was just like, oh jeez. I think I sat down for like 20 minutes, and I was just like sat there, like in like kind of like shock. It didn't really like register with me. I was like, that could have been the fish.
The fish. Yeah, it's devastating when you know that's your only. Sometimes when something like that happens, that's your only chance.
Yeah, sure.
And once that's gone, that's gone.
That's true. Yeah,
especially on the shore. Yeah. That really is.
Yeah, it's like magical moments that don't happen very often.
God, I can imagine to lose a big fish like that from the shore would be absolutely heart-gutting.
I've had a couple of bass shake the hooks when I've been fishing on lures and things like that. But this was something something else.
Yeah, what a shame. What a shame.
Yeah, I think it's things like that as well that you kind of you'll never know. And
I know it could have been anything.
It could have been.
That's what I love about the sea.
It could have been absolutely anything. But you kind of know in yourself what you'd want it to be.
Yes.
But
and I think you tell yourself that all the time.
Yeah,
as well.
you do. Yeah, you do.
It was definitely that. It was definitely a £50 tote. The reality was maybe it was a £10 one, but
yeah. This fish was a decent fish, and it's what when anglers say the fish that got away. This was the fish that got away.
Yeah. And that one you haven't quite managed to get one, which you go,
I mean, to be honest with you, I haven't really been back targeting them.
It's a time thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is a time constraint thing, but it's definitely on the list of things to do.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, going on to sort of targets then for the future. Is there anything you're specifically really want, in the next sort of years fishing or 2 years, say?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think there's anything I really want to do with fishing. I kind of like just letting it play out and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's places I want to go and fish. Like I want to go fish in Ireland. Hopefully, I can try and convince my wife to go over there and try and sneak a fishing rod in the bag.
Totally fair.
There's places I want to go and fish, but I mean, as for targeting specific fish, I mean, there's tope and there's stingrays, and there's fish that are desirable to a shore angler.
Yeah, like a trophy fish.
Yeah, like a trophy fish. But I mean, to be fair, I'm just happy pottering along and just going with the. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good way to be, actually.
Yeah,
because I certainly get dragged into the big game fishing and bigger and bigger and bigger. But the problem is when you catch all them bigger fish, you go, well, what do I do now? Yeah,
to be fair, I would actually. I mean, this is proper far fetched. I would definitely like to try tuna fishing from Cornwall. I think that's one of my things that I would definitely like to do. And thresher sharks seem to be quite a target that would be something that I probably want to try and achieve.
Yeah. So you have to go on a boat for those ones.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You've had a few boat experiences, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been out with my friend CJ, Chris, fishing with CJ from YouTube. I went out with him quite a few times on his boat. He's a really nice chap. And there's been some quite good boating times out there. Yeah, some quite nice fish on the boat. Yeah.
So obviously going from shore to the boat, do you suddenly think, wow, this is a lot easier?
To be fair, it took me quite a long time to adjust.
Okay.
I did struggle with seasickness really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd never been on a boat before. I got on Chris's boat. He told me to have 2 of these tablets in the night and then 1 in the morning. And I woke up and I was all chipper as anything. And then we steamed out the harbour and I was like, oh my goodness, man,
how am I going to cope?
Bad. Yeah, no. and then I adjusted, and then we had a great fishing experience. But yeah, at first it was like, oh jeez,
difficult.
Yeah.
Is boat fishing you want to do more of, or are you definitely more of a shore angler?
To be honest with you, Jake, I would like to do it. I mean, I've enrolled with this thing that's going on locally, the Congo Cup.
Yeah, I'm helping. Yeah, that's me and Ben are running that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm definitely interested in pursuing more boat fishing sessions. But again, it's kind of like a time thing for me. Time is really against me.
You sound like you work quite a lot. So
So it's it's, for me to be able to free up time to do events and things like that. It does take quite a lot at the moment.
Yeah, it probably get better as it goes on.
Yeah, I mean, as things change, and that obviously the cost of living crisis is hitting quite a lot of people, and it's difficult at the moment for everybody. I think as that eases off and wears off, then I can free up a bit more time and really punch out some really decent fishing sessions.
Yeah, because it can get expensive if you start trying to target specific things and you're really eager to catch that one thing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
you go stingray fishing and you could spend £40 on ragworm.
Yeah,
and a lot of that, there's a lot of blanks involved.
Yeah, I think for myself with fishing as well, I just enjoy the going fishing.
Yeah.
I just enjoy, when I can, grabbing my stuff, whacking it in the car. So sometimes I get in the car and I won't even know where I'm going. Like, I think it was a month ago, I just sat down on the sofa and I was like, I need to go fishing. My wife had fallen asleep. She works quite long hours as well. I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, I'm going to go fishing. She was like, yeah, no problem. I drove from Eastbourne to Hive.
Yeah,
and I was just like, I just want to try something different.
Go somewhere different.
I fished Hive, and it wasn't a great session, to be fair, but it was something new, and it was something that it was out there and different, and it was just like a spontaneous decision.
Yeah,
bang, let's go.
Yeah, that's a good way to be.
Yeah, those ones I really enjoy, like the ones that are just like proper, like unpredicted. You don't like. I don't really like to plan where I'm going as much. I just like to get in the car. And then just have the hunch and then just go.
Yeah. Working on a hunch. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of anglers would disagree, but it's good you can do that. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, angling is what you make of it, and for me, it's still fun and it's still really enjoyable. And I think that when it stops becoming fun and enjoyable, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you prefer fishing solo or do you prefer fishing with others?
That's a good question. To be fair, I think some of the best filmed sessions I've had have been solo. I think because you can spend more time concentrating on what it is you want to do.
Yeah.
When I'm fishing with others, it sometimes feels like you want to enjoy the company of the person you're fishing with as well.
Yeah.
So then the filming sometimes does take a back seat.
Yeah, definitely.
And you definitely do miss things that could be potential great filmed moments. But yeah, I mean, some of the really good sessions I've had have been filmed solo, but I do like fishing with others as well.
Yeah. It's definitely that fine line, isn't it?
I think you have to get like a balance, really. To be fair, like it is hard work, but most of my fishing sessions now I fish with my friend called Cliff. I've known him for quite a while now, and he's a really nice chap, and we get on really well. And yeah, I mean, it's great fishing with him.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, but sometimes I do get the niggle, and I just have to go on my own.
Yeah,
and
it's nice to be in your own headspace as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Relax and not have to think about anything or talk to anyone. Sometimes that is nice.
I mean, sometimes it's nice just to completely shut off as well. I mean, if you're sitting on the beach, if you're on your own, you tend to pick up on more things that you would do if you're not with anyone else. Like I like just turning my head torch off, looking at my tip light, green tip light or blue tip light, whatever you use.
Yeah.
And then you just look up at the stars, and it's just like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely something about that, isn't there?
There is, mate. Yeah.
Just relaxing on your own. And I think you dial in a bit better.
You do, mate. Yeah. I mean, when I first started doing fishing sessions overnight on my own, because I did quite a lot of fishing sessions overnight, so from night into day and from day into night. At first, it was quite eerie, because I wasn't used to being on my own.
Yeah.
I always had people around me, family and friends, and to then go and be completely solo on a beach on your own overnight, it's completely dark, that does make you think sometimes. Sometimes you if you go to certain places that are quite remote and you're on your own, sometimes your mind starts to play tricks.
It really does.
Yeah,
I don't know what, like when I don't know if but looking out at sea, generally okay. But when you look behind you, and all you see is a big beach and then emptiness behind you, that feels weird.
Yeah, I remember when I did my first overnight session, I was on the beach and I turned around to look at, I can't remember what it was. I think I turned around to get something. I just saw these two eyes like in the bush, and I was like, "Jeez, man, what the heck is this?
I'm gonna be done."
Yeah, I'm gonna be done over.
One of my weird subscribers following me.
Help me! I'm gonna be done over. But obviously, then it was a fox, and you don't expect things like that. I mean, I didn't expect things like that, to be fair. And now I look at it and it's just completely ridiculous. But when you're on your own and it's dark and you're round the cliffs and you're in the middle of nowhere, and you're fishing through the night, sometimes it's just like, man, I'm gonna get murdered by someone.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
So you do also getting on to a few other little bits you do, but you also do the kids rehoming project, don't you?
Yeah.
Which is a fantastic thing you do.
Yeah.
It's really important, obviously, get anglers and young kids into the fishing.
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, I mean, Rehoming Rods project is a project I started, which enables people to donate fishing items which are no longer loved, should I say, or no longer required. And then what we do is we clean them up if they need cleaning up, and then rehouse them with kids to try and get them into fishing, and just say, here's a rod, here's a reel, here's a couple of bits of end tackle, go out and see if you can catch a fish.
Yeah. And that's fantastic, mate. Honestly, it's really, really good. It's so good to see people are doing that locally.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to get to where it is, and like I say, it only works when people donate items. So there's sometimes long periods of time where, unfortunately, I don't have items to be able to give to people, but we do have a lot of people who donate items now.
Yeah, that's good.
I do have some really good supporting businesses and individuals as well that like yourself have donated before. And it really does make a difference to these kids as well. I mean, quite a lot of the kids that do receive the items are from underprivileged backgrounds and things like that.
Yeah.
And if we're not doing something positive to give back to the fishing community, when these kids get to a certain age and there's nothing for them to do, you know, you don't want them turning into things like crime and you know, antisocial behaviour and things like that.
Yeah,
it's
a wonderful thing to do.
It is good and positive, and it's to be fair with you, Jake. I mean, it's YouTube's a great thing because it's allowed me to do something like that, and you know, people have backed me, which I'm eternally grateful for. And you know, when you give these things to these kids and you see the smiles on their faces, and they go out and send you pictures of the fish that they've caught.
Yeah, amazing. I was going to say that to you.
It is absolutely amazing, and it probably gets you inside a little bit. I think over the last 3 years, between myself and a couple of other groups that have taken part, we've given over 300 setups away to kids.
I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, which is just mind blowing.
Yeah, because even if you get 10%, which get into it, you get 30 anglers. Yeah, who are a lifelong passion is that. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, for us as you know, guys, middle-aged guys, we want our sport to continue, and we want people to continue fishing. You know, and it is one of them things where you think, you know, if I can do something positive and give something back, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's really good. It's a good little project. I think more people should do that around the UK.
Yeah, there is quite a few people that are picked up and they're doing it now, and you know, which is absolutely great. And there's a couple of people that do it through carp fishing as well. Lots of other people that have started doing it, which is you know, it's good. I think we need to support younger anglers more to get them into fishing, and then that will, you know, kind of replenish.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, the people that are doing it.
I think the carp fishing industry's done it well, and they have made it trendy, quite popular.
Sure, yeah.
And they're, you know, forever growing at the moment. You know, a lot of kids are getting into it, which is great. But the sea angling has taken a back step a bit. I think the tackle companies are a little bit less on the social media. They don't push their products as much as they do. You know, it's not necessarily about sales, but it's about creating that cool, trendy vibe. You know,
you want to kind of create like a community where people are appreciated.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, and the people that are going to catch the fish of tomorrow are going to be the people that, you know, that take up fishing. And you know, if you haven't got a father or a grandfather that goes fishing already, how are you going to learn about fishing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I must admit, I've always been, you know, get a lot of messages, probably like yourself, asking about help and stuff. And,
sure.
And still, you do get quite young people asking you sometimes.
You do, yeah. You get quite, you know, kids and people that are parents of kids have messaged me in the past saying, you know, my son or daughter or grandchild wants to start fishing, but we have literally no idea where to start. We've seen a couple of your videos. Can you give us a hand? And you know, and it's people like that we want, you know, to try fishing, and hopefully to stimulate them into taking it up in the future. Yeah,
it's a great sport to get into. I mean, it's my half will probably disagree because it's taken over my life really.
I think to be fair, you know, my partner, she likes fishing, but you know, it gets to a point where sometimes it does become too much. Yeah,
definitely.
And I think I push it a lot.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Yeah.
It's my brother will tell you that he's a literal addict.
100%.
You know, this room's taken up, for example. Our spare room is taken up with fishing only. And I'm out on a lot of holidays and a lot of time. I go out because I'm that sort of person. I have to just go.
Yeah,
and she knows that. You know, she's known that for years. But you know, like this year, bigger trip. You went to Minehead for 5 days, and then we were in Scotland, and then in a few days' time we're going to Cornwall.
Yeah, it does take up a lot of time.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
But it's one of them things. To get them big fish and to catch the fish, which you really want, you have got to travel. You've got to put in the hours.
Yeah, you do, mate. Yeah.
You know. So yeah, hands up to all the ladies out there which are putting up.
We're sorry. We are sorry. I say it is pure addiction. And you know, to be honest with you, it probably ain't even gonna get any better.
No, it's just gonna get worse.
it's probably just gonna get worse. Yeah. I mean, unless, you know, age takes hold of us and, you know, stops us from doing it. I think it's going to be something that's you know, stuck for a while.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, huge thanks for coming on today.
Yeah, no problem.
Really, really appreciated. I've got a small gift for you.
Oh wow.
It's nothing fishing related, unfortunately. I've got chickens in the back of the garden.
Oh, wow.
So there's 6 fresh eggs there.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, no, my pleasure.
Oh, awesome.
It's very, very kind of you coming on.
Happy days. Look at them. They're fantastic.
You can tell they're different because they're different colours, you see.
Yeah, man.
That's
You
how they
cannot
should come
beat
out.
fresh produce. Like I say, with obviously, fishing and with anything homegrown or organic, 100% it's the best.
That's the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
All you need now is a few fish to catch. And fry an egg with fish. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Mate, it's going to be a thing. We're going to do it.
Let's do it. Well, a huge shout out to Jason Scott here from the Eastbourne Fisherman, to go follow him on YouTube. And if there's anything you want to add.
No, I just want to say thank you very much for having me.
Absolute pleasure, my friend.
Yeah,
much appreciated.
It's been really, really good, and it's been nice to have a chat. And
I can always talk fishing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we'll have to get a fishing session arranged.
I think it's overdue. Well overdue.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe some LRF stuff down New Haven.
That sounds good to me.
Guaranteed to catch. Lovely. Much appreciated, Jason. And
Lovely.
Thank you for coming along.
Thanks very much, Jake. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.